Right, so there are a couple on my watch list that I want to look, and I thought I would potentially consider taking some live trades. I want to walk you through this. So first of all, what do I like about Kiwi Yen? Okay, it's been within a range, it's broken out the range, it's come back and retested resistance for support and headed onwards. It's really this really nice setup here. It's not too overextended. It looks as though it's getting ready to do a swing low here, a turning point here, and head on higher. It's very close to breaking out right now. It's got high lows running into that. It's also looking really nice and bullish on that 30 minutes, and 15 minute would be my entry time frame of choice. So what I'm going to be looking to do is to most likely get in above this level. So if I just mark the level of support and resistance as to where it is now, and then where I'm looking to get in. So if I just comment on this, I've already placed the order. I'm just going to take you through it, what I'm looking for. So my entry is likely to be a little bit higher than the breakout point. I want to make sure that I don't get triggered in by accident. So likely to make that my actual entry signal. So I'm just going to highlight that in green. Then my stop loss. So there's a couple of different places I can legitimately put my stop loss below this swing low, below this swing low. These are all very valid turning points. I'm going to keep mine relatively tight, and so my stop loss is going to be below this most recent swing low. So I'm going to highlight that in red as my stop loss. And I'm certainly looking here, you'll see my 1-to-1 distance is going to be below this high here. That is technically resistance. So I'm anticipating that there's some room for price to head up to these highs up here. Okay, at the very least, if nothing up to these previous highs. So I'm just going to mark that very quickly as a level of, as a potential target. And you can see what that is here. So that certainly would mean that I get through that. You see prices pushing through right now. And so that'll be my stop loss, and then I'm looking to, so look, I mean, as price here is taken off, what I've got is already a take profit here. So I've got a take profit just below the low here, and then I'll potentially consider taking my stop loss. You can see it's this trade is potentially triggering right now. There we go. So I'm likely in on that trade as well. And then I'll be looking, obviously take profit as I head into that level, and then ideally I'll be looking to do a 3-to-1 on that on average. Okay, so we had a relatively nice move here yesterday. If we can get something similar to that, heading up towards 6-8, I should be able to achieve a 2-to-1 or 3-to-1, okay, up towards this level here. And so, actually even better than that is 6-750 will probably get me my 3-to-1, so I'm relatively happy on that. Okay, so that trade is now triggered. I'm in on that one on Aussie Yen as well as Kiwi Yen. Let me just show you this quickly. I'm just going to save that. Aussie Yen hasn't triggered just yet, but Kiwi Yen is looking good. So it's a similar approach. Okay, identifying that flat level here, then looking to place my entry order, usually just a pip plus the spread above the high of that flat level. Putting my stop loss below here is quite nice because that's actually already, you can see here, if you look, you can see that support, which means placing my stop loss just below that gives me some additional stop loss protection, which I'm happy with. So I think it was 67129. And then looking to take profit. So this is not resistance, technically true resistance at that point. So, but I do take profit as a rule at 1-to-1. Be looking to do that. Okay, so I'll keep the record of those open, and let's just see what the outcome of that is. Overall, I'm relatively happy, especially with Kiwi Yen. Looks as though it's going to be setting up here, but also it's quite realistic. This could take, if each one of these is a 4-hour candle, I could be in this trade for the next 8 hours. It's feasible, so we'll have a look at that. Even though I've got in on the 15 minute, this trade could actually take a while to get through to completion, but what I'll do then is keep it open at least until I hit my 1-to-1, and then we'll take it from there. Great. So I just wanted to update this. Okay, so this is not much longer. Maybe 10-15 minutes later, we can see prices now pushing on its way up. And obviously my goal is to make sure that I can get my trade to 1-to-1 as quickly as possible, so I can get it to break even, so that at least once it's in break even, the odds of me losing money go to 0 pretty much. Okay, so just showing you this is a quick update, and we'll see how this goes. If we do manage to get a nice significant move to the upside, and if it does close out relatively quickly, but my first target is 1-to-1, which is actually just below this price level here. and then looking to see how it goes out from there. I am expecting that price will breathe in, breathe out, extend, retrace on its move up. There's no way it'll do a single move all the way up. So there will be some moves, and if I do get a nice swing low here, a nice higher swing low, I can then move my stop loss underneath that. Ideally, I just want to get past that break, that taking profit at first take profit. All right, so in addition to this setup, I also like the idea of having a look at it on the 5-minute time frame. So here I can see the price broke through that level of resistance, came back to retest it, produced a bullish candle, and technically speaking, there is now another potential entry into that trend, or if I did miss the breakout, I can place my entry above the high of this bullish candle, my stop loss below this resistance level to give it some additional technical support. What's interesting about this is it brings my one-to-one a lot closer. So if I do take this trade and price breaks out above this level, I then get a one-to-one that's actually ahead of this level. So that's quite nice. So it changes the reward to risk setup on that and gets my trade to break even sooner. But I just want to show you as well, see how this is breaking out and following through. So this is a nice little turning trade setup here as well. And so far price broke up. So the last time I kind of showed an update, price was up here, it's kind of pulled back, but actually on a lower time frame it makes sense. It's a breakout and a retest, and now it's deciding if it wants to carry on up. So it's got to break up above that level and then follow through. Just having a look at Aussie Yen as well. So Aussie Yen also broke through that, but it's back under that level at this point in time. So I'm actually triggered in on this trade as well. My stop loss obviously below this low, and so I'll keep updating this, and we'll see with this ultimately what the outcome of these trades are. So here we go. Price is now broken through above the high here and triggered in. So if I had taken an entry on this, I would now officially be in on a second trade. I'm not going to take it because I'm not at break even on my first trade, but I wanted to demonstrate that there was actually another setup into the trend. So first of all, let me explain why I would take the trade in the first place. This has been range bound for a very long time. The market hates ultimately being range bound. When it can get out of it, it likes to move. It's not just that, but it's the breakout and the retest of resistance that looks good, and that move to the upside. So that looks pretty good. Then when I look on the 4 hours, there's a really nice pullback, nice little bullish candles here. You can see price coming back to those levels and then starting to head out. I like the 50, 20, and 10 all fanning upwards. And you can even see here that we had that setup of high lows going into that flat level. So there was a lot of evidence to show that there's momentum to the upside. The question is really, was not that it wasn't going to break out. The question is, does it have enough momentum to get me to break even? So you'll notice that I keep talking about break even. My primary concern is making sure that my trade can get me to break even. Once it's at break even, I have no problems. Then if it goes on and makes profit, that's fine. But if most of my trades are break even or profitable, that's better than them being either a winner or a loser, because losers will eventually add up. Obviously, they'll cost me. So 1% loss or a break even trade, I would rather have the break even trade. Okay, so this is it. I'm going to wrap up the trade for now. Passed the one-to-one target beautifully, actually very quickly. Now looks as though it's preparing for a retracement. I want to show you the outcome of that earlier trade. So that actually would have hit already a 2 and maybe even a 3-to-1 on that trade setup. So that I didn't take that, but that would have been a valid entry or an additional scaling in entry as well. So that was a valid trade setup. You can see here we've broken through past those previous highs. We're looking good on this, a nice solid breakout there. So that was a relatively successful trade. Very nice, very sensible, evidence-based, the way it should be. The Aussie Yen one is also closed out. Sorry, it's open. I still have that one open. Where's the platform? Yeah, so you can just see here that's the outcome of Kiwi Yen. I just closed out some profits there. So that was that one. And you can see sort of price moving on there. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to end the recording now, and then I might do an update later, but I kind of want to post this so that you guys and girls can see this nice and fresh. And yeah, thanks very much. Hopefully you find this useful and instructive.